Hello, everybody. This is the Psychology of Human Relationships, and I am Rich Wedemeyer, your facilitator, guide, teacher, professor, however you wish to view it. I view it as guide and facilitator. What I would suggest you do is open up your syllabus. It's located in two places. First item in the module section and under syllabus, strangely enough. And then follow along with what I'm saying about the syllabus while you look at that on a different screen, or in addition to listening to me, you can pull it up on your phone as a document. And I want to go over the syllabus, which is what I will be doing in class. All of these videos that you will see are linked to this YouTube channel, and most of them are already in place, but this one is new. So welcome. A little bit about myself. I'm an inner city kid originally from New York City. Lived on Long Island. I was educated in the Deep South. First place was Furman University, a small liberal arts college where I actually studied geosciences. And then I went to Vanderbilt, where I studied geosciences. And then I went to North Carolina, where I studied geosciences. And then went to work as a research person at the University of Georgia, in Athens, Georgia, where there's a lot of original music from. And then I came out here in '82 as a geologist, but transitioned rapidly into psychology, which I found quite fascinating. Okay, so in the first place where I received education in psychology was at Oklahoma City Community College. So I'm a community college guy. I love community colleges, and got my 21 hours there. And because I had other education and degrees, I was able to go right into graduate school. And I first went at UCO and studied counseling psychology. And then I went to OSU and studied sex therapy briefly. And then I went to OU, where I studied marriage and family therapy, and also took courses as well. Took a lot of courses, actually. Okay, so in my internship there, I worked with students, college students, for 3 years, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And in fact, I volunteer my time at the counseling center here at Rose State College, and because I'm a licensed clinician, that's a good opportunity for me to help out. Okay? I've worked as a drug and alcohol counselor in the mid-'80s. I worked, as I said, at OU in the late '80s, early '90s with college-age students. I then worked for St. Anthony Hospital in their outpatient program, seeing all sorts of different kinds of cases. I worked at the Oklahoma City Indian Clinic as staff therapist. I worked at OU Health Sciences Center for the Infectious Diseases Institute, helping to set up a counseling program for HIV-positive clients. I worked there for a few years. And I have also had a private practice. The private practice began in 1992 until a couple years ago. And in that capacity, I worked as the primary therapist for medical and dental students in Health Sciences Center. I also did programs of education for residents regarding certain issues. I also was a sex therapist, so for many years helped couples work on their physical relationship and the things that are connected to that, which are psychological things as well. So I've had that array of clinical experiences and a few others that are less mentionable. But I do a lot of writing, a lot of speaking in town, at conferences, and so on. Okay? So pull up that syllabus if you don't have it up yet. This course has two main reasons for its existence. I developed this course back in the late '80s at Oklahoma City Community College when I returned to teach there a bit. And I have worked on this and perfected it, I believe, to some degree anyway. Nothing is ever perfect. and I now teach this course here and have since, I think 97 or so. The two purposes are these. Number one, it's a first level professional course for people going into psychology or social work counseling. Okay, those are two different but related degree programs here at Rose. And so it can lead and help you as you grow and develop in your skills and your understanding of the field as you move forward. And will, as part of your degree hours, transfer out. Now, the second reason, not just the first one, to educate you professionally about the many issues that you will see clients bringing to you and how then to deal with those and how to understand those. Second is to maybe help you in your own relationships. And in fact, it will, I believe, if you pay close attention to the course, if you invest in the course, as I know you can, then you will get quite a bit out of it for both purposes. Okay? So let's talk for a minute about how to get a hold of me. At the present time, I do not have an office because there was an electrical fire in 3 of the buildings. Sometime in February, maybe March, we're not sure, I will then have an office. However, I will be able to meet with you as you need me to meet with you. Before class, after class, meet you somewhere else to help you with anything you may need help with. Okay? So I will have an office, and I'll tell you about that later if it becomes available during the semester. My campus phone number is 405-733-7311, extension 7397. You can dial it directly, 733-7397. But the best way to get hold of me, the fastest way, is actually to use my email address, which is rwedemeyer, RWEDEMEYER, @rose.edu. Do not send it to Raider Rose. We don't get those. Okay? Don't send them on Canvas. Send them directly to my desktop at rwedemeyer@rose.edu. Okay? I check it all day long and right before I go to bed at night. Okay? All right. So, there are no prerequisites required for this. You do have one book that's required. It is a text/workbook. Okay? And that book is Becoming Aware, 13th edition by Katie Barwick-Snell, who was at OU, and Velma Walker, who is now retired. Velma and I have been friends for years, and I've appreciated and have used her book for many years. This is published by Kendall Hunt Publishing. So, where can you get this? Well, you get it at a bookstore if it's in. You can get it directly from the publisher. Okay? And the publisher, you just go right to the Google search, Kendall Hunt Publishing. Tell them you need it expedited. We will be doing exercises, which I will talk about in a minute, in this book. So when you get this book, do not buy a used copy, because used copies almost always have the exercises filled out at the end of the chapters, and you don't want that. That will defeat the purpose of having the book in the first place, aside from the material I want you to read. Do not buy an electronic copy. Okay? All right? So buy a new copy. They are different prices at different places. Be sure you get one without anything written at the end of the chapters. Okay? All right. On the syllabus, the ISBN and the title and authors and so on are there again. So what about attendance? Well, this is offered, this course, as a flex course. So what we wanted to do at Rose was offer people the chance to take a course in a variety of ways, and should they need to miss parts of the course in class, or should they have strong reason to not be in class, they could take it at home or anywhere else that they had access to a computer. Okay? So this course, in addition, is ordered as an asynchronous course. So I don't use Zoom. You're not seeing my lectures live. And I've decided that's the best way to do this because you can pull up the lectures and watch them over and over again, and they aren't interrupted by anything going on in the room. They aren't interrupted by questions, which sometimes are difficult to hear on Zoom, and so on. Okay? Now, it is my experience that it's to your advantage to be in class, if you can. And the reason is because, A, you'll be able to ask questions right then and get answers. There may be group exercises that are difficult to do on a Zoom format and won't be on the lectures that are recorded for you. But you will have a sense of, in this case, personal connections. After all, this is a psychology of psychology of human relationships. Okay. Missing class will not cost you grade. I'm going to take the roll, and if you're not there, I know you're not there. You don't have to email me in advance telling me you're not going to be in class, okay? All right. So the other thing you might not get is you might not get some demonstrations that might take place in class, that very well might and probably will take place in class. You will get the sense of what they are, and you will know what they're about from the lectures, but you won't be up front with them, okay? All right. If you arrive late, please don't make that a habit, okay? Come to class on time or before. If you need to leave early, let me know. And sit nearest the door so you don't disturb everybody. Believe it or not, when you come in and out of a classroom, it's disturbing to the flow of the class. Okay. All right. A little bit about face masks. Some things to be reminded of, some of which have gone off the spiel that people give. Even some of the doctors don't give you all of these things, and I want to make sure that you get them. One is wash your hands frequently through the day. Don't touch your face. That's a very primary mode of transportation. You touch something or someone or the outside of a mask that has virus on it, and then you touch your nose, your mouth, your eyes. That's a transmission route. All right, you don't want to do that. Wear an appropriate mask, an appropriate face covering. That's to keep you from getting the virus, and if you have the virus, from other people getting the virus. So being younger, you have a greater chance of not showing any signs or symptoms and yet have the virus. And you may never know that if you're not tested, routinely tested actually. So we want to be careful from this point forward, very, very, very significantly so. Okay? If you don't wear a face mask, you'll be asked to leave and retrieve one. If you repeat that process of forgetting your face mask, then someone's going to have to talk to you about that, okay? That's the way it's going to go. Now, the second thing to know is, a third thing. So wash your hands, don't touch your face. Wear your mask, and then watch your distance. Now, everyone talks about that. What we will do in class is create the maximum distance that we can, okay? And that's the best we'll do. Chances are good we can get maximum distance. The closest distance you want is about 6 feet if you can manage that. And then here's one that doesn't get on the radar much, and that is when you leave and go to your car, or at the end of the day, whenever you're going to take your mask off, take it off at the ears over here. Take it off with your 2 fingers. Don't grab your mask like this and take it off. Grab it with your fingers and lay it somewhere. If it's cloth you want to wear again, wash it. If it's a paper one, it's a one-use thing. Throw it away or leave it where it is and don't touch it for a few days. The virus can last maybe a day or two. And so you want to just leave it where it is. Don't pick up the mask. Don't hold it, because now you've got the virus on your hands. A lot of people, I think, may be transmitting this to themselves. Assume that you have virus on the outside of your mask or on the inside of your mask. Well, you don't want to get it then on your hands. And if it's not you that's infected, you sure don't want to touch the outside of your mask. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so you need to wear that as soon as you enter a building, right? All right. Classroom policies are pretty simple. We have to have some rules and regulations that I think make sense, and that is, raising your hand to ask a question or make a comment in class. That way, you don't talk over me, I don't talk over you, okay? Or you don't talk over other students. Come to class on time, remain for the entire period unless there's something going on you have to get to, okay? Avoid side conversations on an ongoing basis. That just doesn't work. Particularly people in the back of the room have a tendency to do that, thinking that we can't hear you. Oh, yes, we can. So don't do that. Thank you. Just don't be disruptive in any way. Stay awake. That's a good one, right? Stay awake. I have people that sometimes sleep. And then have a drink, but don't eat a meal. That means you've got to take your mail off constantly. And if you bring in a drink, fine, but bring a straw so you can slip it up under your mask. Okay? All right. Now, I don't want you to use your phone or external electronic devices unless there is some strong reason to do that. If there's a reason for you to use your phone, put it on vibrate, okay? But please don't spend your time in class texting and returning messages and so on, okay? This is a professional educational environment, and I would like you to treat it as such. Okay? Good. All right. Okay. No one but the enrolled student can be in the class. So no kids, no guests, and no emotional support animals, which is usually a dog. If it's a service animal, usually a dog, then go to special services in the LRC at the north end on the ground floor, and they will tell you how to go about getting that certified, and then that's okay. If it's a service dog, we want you to have your service dog. But emotional support animals, if you have a emotional support chicken, no. Okay. Or dog. I'm a dog person. I love me some dogs, but... Okay. We will have classroom exercises, sometimes by yourself, sometimes with 2 people, or sometimes with more people. You can opt out, and you don't have to explain why, but I would appreciate it if there's not some overwhelming reason not to, that you participate in these, because they will augment your learning. They will demonstrate some things to you in ways you can't get any other way. If you're going to withdraw from the course, you have 2 weeks to do it. On February of, I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd, the AW is registered. It's that Monday. Okay, so be sure that you withdraw to make sure it doesn't affect your grade and so on. Now, grading. That's what everybody really wants to know about. So there'll be 5 scores. There'll be 4. Let me put my glasses on because I'm reading along with you, and I know this. So you will have 4 writing assignments, 3 writing assignments. I'm sorry, and you will have a 3 discussion questions, which I'll discuss in a minute. A theme paper, okay, and you'll have exercises out of the book. So 5 scores, and each one of those scores, no matter which ones they are worth 100 points. So the maximum number of points is 500 for the course, okay? And because it's 500 and we're on a 10-point scale, 90% of 500 points is 450. So if you want to do it by points, 450 or above in points to 500 is an A, and so on. Okay? And I will grade whatever you're doing quickly and put the grades on Canvas, and you will have a way to see what your scores are immediately. And what you need to get, you can figure that out pretty easily. Okay? All right. Nothing can be late. So let's talk about the discussion questions. These are writing assignments, okay? These writing assignments require at least 250 words each to respond to. So that means you need to read the PowerPoints, listen to the lectures, either in class or online, okay? And all of those materials, the textbook, the lectures, the PowerPoints, everything will contribute to your response. So 250 words is not easy, but it's not that hard. You can get to 250 pretty quickly. But although I'm not looking for perfection, I am counting 25 points of that to be complete sentences, subject, verb, and object, spelling, punctuation, etc., capitalization. All of those things have to be correct. If you misspell a couple of words, I'm not going to care. You misspell 5 words, 10 words, now I care. So you get 25 points for that. You write 250 words, that'll give you 50 points. So that's it. That's half the grade right there, is 250 words. And when you type in Word, okay, Microsoft Word, it'll tell you how many words you have down on the lower left-hand side. So you can keep up with that. You don't have to count them every time. And then the last 25 points of the 100 for each of those questions is that you've responded thoughtfully and accurately to those questions. You've responded well. You got it right. And you did a thorough job, okay? All right. Written exercises outside of class, okay? There are 10 of them, okay? And each one is worth 10 points for a total of 100 points, okay? All right. So the exercises are one of those scores. So you have the 3 discussion questions, and then you have the written exercises. Yeah. Okay. They are to be completed as we go along in the course, and on the calendar, the tentative course calendar, I have listed what you need to be doing in reading in the text and doing the exercises, which will be another way to learn the material more deeply. I'm not going to collect them until the end of the semester. You're going to put your staple gun on it, staple it, put your name on it, and you're going to hand all of them in at once near the end of the semester. The day it's due is listed. Okay. Everybody got that? Now, each of those has some discussion questions associated with the activity of the exercise. And what you're going to do is provide at least 3 complete sentences written without errors, at least 3, in response to any discussion question in any exercise. Okay? It's really very simple. Really very simple. But I won't take these late. I can't do that. You will have had all semester long to do those. Now, with respect to the discussion questions, you do hand those in on a due date. Well, I have open dates listed. I'm going to leave them open for a week, and then there'll be a due date. Okay? Got that? So when we finish a certain number of sections, you will see on the tentative course calendar that I will open that question. You'll read it. I'll give you some hints on how to do it. I'll give you some things you need to cover. Okay? And you'll have a week to do it, and then you'll hand it in. You will hand it in as a text into Canvas. I will grade it, and I will put your grade on Canvas. And there's 3 of those, remember? Okay, 3 discussion questions. So those have to be handed in certain times, and the exercises are handed in late. Okay, in the course, late in the course. All right. So, I have the list of exercises and what page they begin on. Many of the exercises have several questions, several pages associated with them, and you want to do all the pages and answer all the questions. And there are generally only 1, 2, 3, or 4 questions, sometimes only 2. Okay. Now, the 5th score is called a theme paper. Very easy to get a full 100 points on this. This is your last 100 point of the 500 points. I have questions that you will answer. These are listed in the syllabus. If you're following, the A through G. The first one is, what are your 5 most important fundamental values? Be specific. And where did each one come from? Be specific. And the questions are similar. They have to do with you and also relationships. And we will have spent time looking at these issues and doing in-class stuff. And you will do them via the internet if that's what you're doing as well, so that you will have some of this information right away, okay? Now, this has to be of a certain form. You don't need any references, and you can use I. I know you're taught not to use the first person when you're doing papers, but this is when I want you to use I, because this is about you. It tells you how to put this together in the directions in the syllabus. Double space, margins have to be 1 inch all the way around, paragraphs, retype the questions and do paragraphs beneath each of the questions, etc., etc. Okay? I have the grading rubric listed for you, 25 points for doing it thoughtfully and thoroughly, 25 points for doing the right number of pages, which is, by the way, 5-page minimum with the 1 inch margins, no unnecessary spacing, okay? And that gets you 25, and then very few or no errors in syntax and plurality and spelling and grammar. That's 25 points. Okay? And then the last 25 is the format is 8.5 by 11, 12-point type, blah blah blah. Don't put a theme paper on it. Just put it on canvas. Okay, now, if you go next to the tentative course calendar, the word tentative is intentional. The word tentative means that something might happen. We don't know. Weather, for example, don't know. That might alter our schedule. Or we might spend more time on something that we didn't think. Or spend less time. I don't know. So that's why it's tentative. But the sequence is going to stay the same. And we're going to be off or on. Off maybe a day, no more than 2. But most of the time we'll go back and forth between being right on and just off. Okay? All right. So the first thing is an introduction to the course. This is what this is, by the way. And we will do that on our first day in class. If you hear this, that would be this one. Then we're going to have a PowerPoint that I've listed for you on the canvas. I've put all of them on there already. This is exactly what I'm going to show in class. First one is things to remember about human beings. Then we're going to talk about self-awareness. We're going to talk about how you learn who you are and how do you know who you are and those kinds of things. Who are you really? It takes a little while. We're going to talk about self-esteem and some other things. Then we're going to talk about ethics and values and how values in particular are fundamental for determining your decisions throughout your life. Fundamental. And even, hint, 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 finding the right person to have a lifelong relationship with, if that's something you're interested in. Most people are, but not everyone. Then one day on who's in control. We'll talk about what we are and are not in control of and what happens when things go awry, you see. Taking too little or too much control. Then we're going to talk about what emotions are, what the core emotions are, why do we have them, what purposes they serve, how to deal with them, what appropriate emotional expression is. This is a really cool subject. This is something you may not hear ever again in the way that we talk about it and in the areas we cover. It's very, very cool. Okay? All right. Then we're going to talk about nonverbal communication, and this is how you read people from facial expressions, the way they keep distance from you or not, the way they move arms and legs and put them into positions. And this is kind of cool stuff. This is body language. And if you're going to be a therapist, you have to know something about this. This is good stuff to know about. And it's also fun. Oh, then we have a spring break. And then we're going to learn about how to listen. Believe it or not, most people don't do it very well. If you're a counselor or a social worker, you have to know how to do superb listening. It isn't just hearing what someone says, it's understanding what they say. Okay? And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in that and do a lot of exercises. Then we're going to talk about assertiveness. Then we're going to talk about developing closer relationships. And that is another cool part. I think it's one of my favorites. We're talking about the structure of relationships and how they come to be, the components of relationships, and how they dynamically interact with each other. We're talking about what love is and what it is not. And just very cool stuff. Cool stuff. How to make relationships last, what makes them fail, those sorts of things. Okay. Then we're going to talk about assertiveness. And this is how to keep good boundaries with people in a kind but appropriate way so that you don't get taken advantage of and people know where you stand. And what happens when you do that in the right way is it invites people into your life that are good to be around, and it sort of eliminates people that are, it keeps them at the right distance anyway of the people that are not so good to have in your life. It also keeps people on the right track with you, even in your life when they're good to be with. Everybody sort of steps on boundaries once in a while, and it's not on purpose necessarily. And so we'll talk all about that. And then the last thing is negotiation and compromise. How to solve problems effectively as a couple in particular. Okay? Now, important dates are classes begin actually on the 19th. AW grades are on 2-1. Spring break is the 15th through the 19th. If you're going to withdraw from a class, you can go all the way to April 20th. And our week of the date of the last exercises, the exercise that you'll staple together all together and hand in, will be on the 13th or the 11th, one of the two. Okay, so just check your syllabus. Okay, so that's the syllabus, and I want to go back a minute and tell you that the first discussion question will not be due until the first or second week of February. It comes after that one night on Who's in Control. The second one will open up the first or second week of March. The third one will open up the third week of April. You will hand in all of your exercises to me the fourth week of April, along with the theme paper. It would be important for you to work on that throughout the semester and not try to do it at the last minute. I know what procrastination is all about. I'm very good at it, but it is not wise to do that, nor is it wise to wait to do the exercises. It makes life a whole lot easier if you don't do that. Okay? And then the exam week is the week in which you will hand in your extra credit question. There is going to be an extra credit discussion question, and you will be able to turn that in